Vinny's breaking.
We're back. We're back. Three guys, many games. We got the music. Here we are, three guys, many games. I know you guys been missing us. We're heading into the NCAA's big week of college lacrosse. The conference tournaments happened, and the selection show came out. Controversy with that. It leaked early. They made it like it was leaking the Oscars, Vin. It was like a big news story.
Introduce us, man. Who are we?
They know who you are, Smalley. You're famous at this point.
We got new guests coming on. I heard
the new ones. Okay, for anybody
Dr.
out there
Fauci
who
on
doesn't know who we are, my name is Steve Sombrato. I'm here with Mr. Chaminade, Rob Smalley, who everybody knows, and my dear brother Vin Sombrato, the GOAT. And as I said, Smalls, did you hear about that controversy? When they announced the field on the show, it had already gone out about an hour or a couple hours before the show happened. It was like it was leaked. They made like a whole
like
big
everything
thing.
else in politics. Everything gets leaked, right? But they're trying to blame some staffer.
Vinny disappeared somehow. You're saying that you're not recording, Vin. I don't know what you did. He disappeared. He got bounced.
Last minute, Charlie.
Go ahead, go.
Very quickly, though. Well, last night we went to the New York Athletic Club on a big thing with Matt Levine. So they were fundraising for the big, the big New York Athletic Club. Well, you know the name of it, CityLax.
CityLax. We were at the CityLax event at New York AC.
Fundraising, yeah. Event. It was unbelievable. So yeah, we met a lot of people there. I wanted to give a shout out to a dear friend of mine who was there. Always says hello to me, but sometimes I'm doing my usual act. I forgot who he was. Such a movie star looking kid. The kid Justin Turry. He's a great young coach at the local college over here of St. John's. And he's doing a pretty good job. It's tough to recruit there, but he's a really nice person and a great kid to play for. And I really admire him, yeah.
Oh, look who's back.
Vinny's coming back. He just got locked out.
Look at these technical difficulties. Is he coming back?
Anyway, so the club, New York Athletic Club, by the way, we raise a lot of money for inner city kids. Like I said, Matt Levine and so many people were there fundraising. Here he is. Hey, Vincent. Can you hear us, Vincent? Not yet. Vinny's frozen in time. Hey,
wow. This is exactly why he mistook Turry for cursed.
I mean, I'm not really. Who were cursed?
With Turry, Justin Turry.
Yeah, Justin Turry. He thought he was, but he looked.
I got a kick out of that. That was funny on the ride home. That was a crack up.
No, Vinny. Vinny met so many people. He blamed it on me.
Did he blame you?
Back to Justin Turry. We met him. He's a very kind human being. He always comes up, says hello. He's a really caring individual, and he's a nice kid. By the way, he went to Duke University, and he's making his way in the coaching thing. And believe me, that kid's gonna have a big job one day. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's got a tough situation there. He's doing the best he can there. I saw them play. We went that time and saw them play Georgetown, and that was a tough game for them. But they've shown some life over the last few years.
Some top teams. He loses by a couple.
Tough schedule,
Yeah. So he carries himself. Yeah, wish him good luck. As a local guy, and believe me, someday you're going to see that guy coaching the national championship team.
So how did you end up where we were on the line and Vinny had the tickets on the phone, and by the time we even got in the elevator and up, you were already on your second plate of food?
I saw somebody I knew from last year, so I went to say hello, and I happened to be standing with them because so many people to get into the New York Athletic Club. There's about 75 people online for some reason. The elevators weren't working. We had to go to the fourth floor or third floor.
Right.
Whatever. So, yeah. Wow. So, yeah, no, that was it. So I got in. There was some nachi food. there wasn't a lot of food or whatever, but it was a great
Well, we
time.
know your standards. Your standards is
You
Brian and
back?
Cooper.
Vinny, you back? He's still dead.
I'm back. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. My laptop has been
This is
invaded.
the reason.
Vinny, you back, baby?
We were saying this is the reason why you mistook Justin Turry for C.J. Kirst. You're all over the place.
I think I got dementia. I definitely think I got dementia.
Oh, God.
Somebody's sabotaging me. I don't know what's going on.
No, we just plugged Justin. We were talking about the guy. I said to me, he always comes up and says hello to me, and I'm really a nobody in the world. He's such a gentleman and a nice guy. I mean, the guy really is trying to build a program there, which is not that easy, man. He's doing the best job he can. The guy, he puts his heart and soul into it, Vin?
Yeah, he does.
Well, maybe if Patino give him some of that NIL money, maybe they'll make a turn.
Well, I want to get Justin's number because I want to call up Mike Rapoli, who I'm good friends with.
Hey, exactly.
Hey, Mike,
yes.
get some money over to my boy Justin. He's part of the big
Get a little change off of what the basketball team is doing, and he can make a team.
100%. So I'm going to look into helping Justin this year. I'm going to jump on board because I always see him such a nice guy. Before Justin got there, we had built the locker room, and right, Vinny, we raised a lot of money. We wrote some checks. They got a nice locker room there now, like that. I'm going to look to go back there one day, right?
What are you talking about? This guy's living in an alternate universe. When did you do all of these things?
You're the guy that asked me for the checks.
You guys going to come knocking on your door for checks. He's going to look for the checks that you're saying. First of all, before my computer crashed, he was talking about how he raised all this money for the New York AC at the New York AC for CityLax and the team. Right. I tried to get him to sponsor one team last night. I tried to get him to go for one thing of sticks, and he wouldn't do it.
Did he buy a bag for $10,000? Who bought that bag for $10,000?
Don't be doing stolen valor. We run an honest show here. We tell the truth.
Yeah,
right, let's get into this.
Well, one thing about the CityLax, they always do. We've witnessed it. People step up big time, and people did last night. Number of people. People were honored. Adam Doniger was honored into the Hall of Fame of the CityLax. And he was a tremendous player. When he was just coming into the pro leagues, that's when kind of like when I was going out the door, and seeing the size of him, I said, okay, this might be the right time to get out of the way of this, because he was a freight train. Guarding him was no easy task.
Well, here we're not as technically advanced as but I'll hold this up. Here's something from the program: the 3 honorees, Adam Doniger, Brittany Brown, and Billy Went. And I have to say, all 3 of them really gave very nice speeches. The girl she was very touching, talking about how her dad made sacrifices to allow her to play, and the doors that lacrosse opened for her, being part of CityLax. The young man who was from the Bronx, this kid, what an incredible story he is. He gets going in school because he felt like lacrosse gave him an edge, and the planets aligned for him. He had a tremendous academic. He's course of studies. He's a scientist. I mean, the kid is unreal. And then, of course, as you said, Doniger, we know well. He's a Long Island boy. Hopkins, phenomenal player. So the 3 people who received the awards last night, it was really a very special night. And we were invited by our good friend Dean Palin, who was very generous in sponsoring a team for all of next year. So all in all, it was a very good night.
The ripple effects of what the people do and what CityLax does, and giving people opportunity, and then the next generation passing that on and that on, and you're seeing these young people that get these opportunities that probably wouldn't have them had it not been for CityLax, and they're becoming doctors, and they're becoming professionals, and they're affect physical therapists. We're putting him to sleep, Vin.
He's out already.
Man,
He's out already.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
what do you
but
want to
it
talk
was
about,
fun.
Smalls? I don't want to bore you. I don't want to bore you. I
I'm
want you to be
stretching. I
entertained.
was laying on the couch watching CNN.
Okay.
His ADD is kicking in. Something else will kick in soon. First his ADD, then something else kicks in. If he's not the focus
It's like
of the
bipolar
conversation,
syndrome.
he's out.
Right.
Yeah, if he's not the focus, he's out.
It's either he goes, if he's not in there, he's down on the, and then if he is, he's a wild maniac.
I grew up with ADD, ADHD,
God.
ADD. Come on, give me a pass.
You got every letter of the alphabet going.
Well, so I hit some nerves out there early in the week after the selection show because I was making a little bit of joke about the fact that Duke was in, and everybody saw that they were going to get in based on when they beat North Carolina, their RPI jumped up hugely, and then they weren't playing, so that's on top of it a double advantage. And the first two teams out were Maryland and Harvard. And, although Maryland lost in that first round of the Big Ten tournament, you could make arguments where Harvard and Maryland were deserving of getting a spot and Duke potentially not. And I think people were, I wasn't really taking a shot at Duke. I was really kind of saying, with the post that basically said Maryland, instead of playing, Princeton, Syracuse, and Notre Dame, they'll play some other weaker teams. And that's really the message that I think the committee was sending because, and I'll ask the question for Smalley so that he's not bored. If you were in a Maryland situation or some of these other teams that are in the stronger conference and you're going to play strong conference games in the Big Ten or the Ivy League or in the ACC, would you schedule these really, really hard games all the time that you really could potentially lose and end up not a record, or would you go for the cream puffs?
Obviously not now, and rightfully so. He has a point. If you went out in the U.S., John Donowski and those guys or whatever, what they thought, they might give you the same answer as we're saying. They backed in. I heard there was kids that were packing up, ready to go home. They thought they were going home. They didn't know they were going to get in. There's kids at Duke and the staff at Duke. If you ask them the same question, they're the same as us. What's the difference between them and us? Nothing. I bet you there's guys that didn't think they were getting in either. So as far as, Well,
let me ask you a secondary question. Because of now the situation Carolina's in before that game. Knowing what you know now, do you think Joe Bresci and Vinny, you could jump in on this one too. Do you think, knowing what you know now and whether or not it would have made a difference, because the game didn't mean anything other than the pride of playing the game and the rivalry.
Correct.
Had Bresci not played not one starter or anybody that would even play the back half of his whole team and lost by whatever, would it have made any difference in the committee's mind or any basis there?
Absolutely not. Go ahead, Vinny. Absolutely not. Go ahead, Vinny.
Well, I don't think so. But look, Joe's not that kind of guy. They're not going to lay down in the last game. He wants to compete no matter what the stakes are. He's going to compete. His players want to compete. You don't want to start, doing that cutesy stuff of, we're not going to play guys and let's do it this way to rest everybody. I think that breaks momentum. Now, the other side of that is there's always a chance somebody can get injured, and Duffy ended up, not sure if it's a hamstring, whatever it may be with him. And if they've lost him for 1 or 2 games, or maybe the whole thing, or maybe not at all, we don't know. But, obviously they're a better team with him on the field than off the field. But, to get back to, look, Duke clearly passes the eyeball test. We all know that. There's nobody arguing they're not a top team. But whether or not they should have been rewarded with that, that slot, that's from what I'm understanding, they're going to change. They're going to go away from the RPI. But I really think that what solves the problem most of all is to add more teams, expand the field. Let more teams get into the thing, and then play it out, and at some point the cream's going to rise to the top anyway, but it's great. I mean, look, competition's great, but to play the same team, had this conversation 6, 8 weeks ago. We said it's going to end up, these teams are going to end up playing each other 3 times, to get to win the championship.
So again, is it a message from the committee that we're going to start seeing we're not going to see as many of these strong games early in the year because they're going to say it's not worth playing. We got to back end of our conferences, play a monster schedule, and we might as well make sure we go into our conference schedule with either no losses or as little damage as possible.
I don't think coaches will do that. I think they'll try to play an appropriate schedule for what their goals are. I think that you have geographic limitations, right? You have scheduling limitations for different schools have finals maybe at different times. It's not so easy to just cherry pick out a schedule, It can happen, I'm not saying Duke cherry picked the schedule. Clearly they their strength of schedule was in the high teens, I think, at the end of the day. I kind of didn't understand how they even though they beat North Carolina, how they jumped up as much as they did in the RPI. I don't know the formula, but it didn't seem like, Virginia beating Notre Dame twice jumped up as much as Duke did by beating Carolina once, So Virginia did get a seed, and I think the 8 seeds were the appropriate teams ultimately. The 8 seeded teams that have those home games are the right teams. I think they got that right. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out. Look, you can nitpick this thing to death and we can go back and forth with the whole thing. Bottom line, get on the field, win your games, play the guy who's in the team that's in front of you.
50 years. Can you get it right?
Yeah, well, listen, things have changed over 50 years. 50 years ago, there was 8 teams.
I know, but I'm saying, can you get it right? We're in the 21st century. We got shot clocks. We got things out of bounds.
Well, they will. I'm sure they're going to talk about it. I'm sure they're going to talk about it because
video camera. Because got in because the video camera. I mean,
if you don't think that they're thinking about it, they are thinking about it. They have kids in the weight room. 5 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's looking for every little edge they can get on every single thing. You think they're not going to figure on the schedule and say what puts us in the best chance? What's risk reward? I think the moral of the story is if you're going to schedule those strong teams out of conference, you got to win a couple.
Yeah, you got to win.
You got to win. Yeah. It'll give some dividends if you do win, because if Maryland wins 1 or 2 out of those 3 games against Syracuse and Princeton, instead of losing all 3, obviously they're in at that point.
Let's take a poll. If Duke should have got in, or Maryland should have got in. How about a
I mean, the thing that rubbed people wrong about Duke is not only did you not make the tournament, not only did you not play maybe the greatest out of schedule, but you got a week's rest going into the tournament on top of it.
All right, we said that. We're beating a dead horse. It is what it is. The first round's coming. 2 games were played already. Stony Brook, who looked like a hot team, who surprised everybody by beating Towson in their maybe everybody but themselves in their league final, got in. Marist took care of business against them. As usual, maybe I put the jinx on them. I thought Stony Brook would win. And the other game, Jacksonville won. They were the favorite. They were at home. And they handled their business against Robert Morris, who had congratulations to them. They had a very good season and got to be part of the tournament. But now we move on to the next round with a bunch of very good games. Every game here looks like it's going to be pretty highly contested. What do you guys think is the marquee game of this, or do some games look tougher than others, or what do you think?
Well, I think there's always those ones that are on the outer edge, with some of the smaller conferences that are, you could argue that I think an interesting game for me is Penn State Army. Army now is back in, and are they a few years back? They were a dangerous team. They've pulled some upsets. Back in the day where they beat Syracuse and they moved on, and I think they might have beaten Carolina one year. One of those years they ended up, or they went very, very far. Didn't they play Penn State? Wasn't that a close game against, was it Penn State that they played, Vin? Where they lost maybe Army in like a quarter, and Penn State might have went to the Final Four. There was a game I remember, an outdoor
Yeah,
game.
I think there was a game where they came 1 second short of tying the game. Remember, there was a shot, and it actually came down to like tenths of a second whether or not the shot went in. I think that was them versus Penn State that time.
Well, Yale and
that's
Cuse,
what bounced
man.
them.
I got Yale and Cuse.
I mean, they've been
dangerous game.
All right. We'll go one at a time, Smalls. We're talking Army, Penn State.
We gotta pick them. We gotta pick them. So let's do them while we pick them too, as I write them down. So this way I have them.
Well, you went to the first one.
Well, let's go to the first one. The first one we'll do is let's do Albany and North Carolina. What do you think of that game?
What is there a point spread on it?
No, because it's New York. No spread. Got to beat him.
Yeah.
Scotty Moss got to
I
beat him.
think Albany will give them a fight for a bit, but I think ultimately Carolina pulls away from them. I think Carolina wins that game.
Carolina.
I can't see Carolina losing, even with any injuries or missing some guys.Maybe it gives them a chance to rest some guys if they can get a good lead, in that game.
Isn't he the best? He has got the best percentage to face up guy in the country, right? That guy gets like 8 out of 10.
He's up there. He's one of the best. He got the defensive player of the year, co-defensive player in the year, along with Sean Light from Notre Dame, the defenseman. They were co-winners of the award, Wambach and Light. So, yeah, he was very impactful. He was very impactful in the ACC tournament in the Syracuse game when he scored 2 goals in 13 seconds. Shifted the momentum in that game. They went on to knock Syracuse out in that first round of their ACC tournament.
How do you say his name and spell it?
Wambach. Wambach. Wambach, I think he spells it. He's actually related to Amy Wambach, the great national team soccer player, women's soccer player.
Really? That's interesting. Wow. Cool. Very cool.
So the next one is the one I was saying, Army and Penn State. That's a New York one with no line. I'm gonna pick Army. I think they're gonna. I feel there's something about Army being left out the last few years that they're gonna be ready to go and pull the upset. I think.
What do you say, Smalls?
Listen, my man over there, big man Perone. I gotta go with Perone. I think it's gonna be a double overtime game, or single overtime, one overtime. I think you're gonna beat them by 1. I think that's how close it'll be. It'll seesaw back and forth, and I think what's the name will come out on top. Are we doing the spread on here?
There's no spread on that one.
Okay. So Penn State, yeah. Man, what do you like?
I'll go with Penn State. I mean, I think they're hot right now. The way they won that Big Ten, they're playing, I think, as good as they have all year. I think they're healthy. Although I think they said in the last game the kid Aquino got a little dinged up, but I think he's okay. Smalley's inside sources say he's okay. So I'll go with Penn State.
Can I change my bet here? Because whoever Vinny votes for never wins.
Exactly.
Well, I'll go first. I'll go first on the next one, and you guys can.
Well, the next one we saw when we were at CityLax, there was a lot of rivalry guys there. You had Cornell guys there. You had Hopkins guys there. So that's the game, Cornell and Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, Cornell Hopkins, clearly a rivalry for many years. National championship games against each other. I don't believe they've played each other in a pretty long time. So this is interesting that this is an old rivalry renewed. I think Hopkins is a dangerous team. They've showed at times they've been strong, but I think Cornell at home, after getting beat up the way they did against Princeton in the Ivy final, I think they're going to recalibrate the team. I think they're going to be ready to play. I think the negatives from Hopkins' point of view, they lost their solo captain, their captain of the defense, their signal caller, the guy coordinating the defense. I think he has had so much value for them. Sorry to see that kid got hurt. He's a great competitor, and everybody says a great kid. So without him, I think it makes it that much tougher. And Cornell, as a defending champ, I don't think they're going down so easy. I think Cornell's going to get out of that first round and win that game.
I'm picking Cornell because I can just see Liz Rock and the tailgate set up at Hofstra already. I know Smalley's tasting those tomahawk steaks, and
he's.
And I think Cornell. I just think they got the feel for it last year. Obviously, it was a tough game against Princeton, but I think they'll rebound. Sometimes that loss can propel you deeper into the next games, and I think they'll be ready to go. Busick will have them ready, and then I think we're going to see them at Hofstra. So I'm definitely picking Cornell.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very, very, very close game in the first half. I think it's going to be back and forth. I think towards the end of the third quarter, I'd like to see a little stretch by Cornell, by my little friend there, Goldstein. I think Twinkle Feet, I call him, he's so fast. His feet motor I say they pull away and they win by 2. That's my opinion. By 2.
Given us, even given the spread. The fourth game of that Saturday is a very, very big game. I think this is the game that people have their eye on the most for the weekend, at least initially. It's a good thing it's at 8 o'clock. That's the Duke and Richmond game. Tough game.
Right.
I mean,
there's the other side of that coin. I mean, Richmond loses one game all year to Notre Dame, who was for a good part of the year number 1. Everybody makes noise about whether Duke belongs in the thing based on their schedule and all of that. We've heard that many times over. But look at where Richmond ends up. They got to end up playing them, Duke, in the first round game. That's pretty tough. That really is a tough first round game. And Duke's rested. Richmond, they won their game, the last game they played in for the conference. But it wasn't overwhelming. But I don't know. Like I said, we went to that Duke Cornell game at LA Post, and I was sitting on the field, and I like what I saw in Duke, their physicality, their size, their shooting ability. They lost that game that day very close, but they showed me they were very good. Richmond I haven't seen in person, but I'm even going by a little bit what I saw last year at the end of the year. Maybe we don't brand them with the elites yet, but I'm going to go with Richmond in that game. I think they're going to end up pulling it off.
Wow, you really bounced around there. I thought you were going to pick Duke. I thought he was all over the place.
Did I pick yet?
You could pick now. Go ahead.
Listen, if consistency is great, because throughout Vinny's career, he's been so consistent. We always give him the accolades, 4-time world player. He's consistent. Then to be so consistent, I got to go with Duke. I got to pick the opposite of Vincenzo. Because
You're just doing based on results.
Based on the results.
Listen, I think it's a good method right now. He's right. He's onto something. I'm not going to knock it. Listen, one thing about me, I'm a realist.
I'm going with consistency.
I think this might be one of the hardest games to pick in the whole bracket. I have a feeling the fans are going to be picking Duke I'm picking Richmond.
Steven, but is there a spread on this game?
Yeah, the spread is, yes, there is.
Shit.
They're getting 1.5. Richmond. Richmond.
Wait, so Richmond is minus 1.5.
Yes.
No, they're plus 1.5.
Richmond.
No,
No,
you said
Richmond minus 1.5. Richmond, because they're home.
Richmond's the favorite?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I'm still taking Richmond, but I could see Richmond winning by 1. I could see it being a 1-goal game.
Yeah, me too. I can see this as an overtime game, but
Right.
I'm going to stick with the Spiders.
All right.
just so the fans know, we don't officially gamble on any games. This is straight up for fun. So sometimes people might follow me because I've been the leader for many years now. You know the deal.
Listen, this is worse than losing money. My pride is getting injured more than anything.
Really,
My reputation is tarnished. It's ruined.
I do gotta apologize to Vinny. He's my dear friend, and I really love the guy. And somebody asked him a lot of times, "How are you friends with that guy?" So many guys, how are you friends with Smalley, Vinny? How are you friends? I hung out with him really in the last 5 years. We really got to know each other really, really well. We did play together on Long Island. And so they would always ask him, "Vinny, why are you friends with that guy? Why?" You know what Vinny finally told somebody? Because he needs me. And that was a nice answer, right?
Nice.
That was a nice answer. He's a great guy. He's one of the greatest.
So, Small, let's go to the Sunday. So you got the first game on Sunday is Notre Dame in Jacksonville. Notre Dame's 5.5 over Jacksonville, who just got their win over Robert Morris on Wednesday.
You want me to? I'll tell you the truth. They're going to win, but I find these games going to be very, very tough. I'm going to take the points. I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I know you're going to think I'm crazy in that game. I think it's because the way teams come back and the way they're all going to be up for the game. I mean,
Well,
Jacksonville's playing good.
The thing about 5.5 is Notre Dame tends to go long stretches without scoring. If you got to end up getting 6 goals to win, that's you could stall out. You could still win the game. They could win the game by 3, and it doesn't help. It helps you, not if you're picking the other side. But I'm going to pick the other side.
Can I wait for Vinny to go to change my pick?
I'm going to say Wojcik gets them going, and I'm picking Notre Dame at home. Vin?
I think Notre Dame is, they lost in the first round. Virginia beat them of their ACC tournament. They've had plenty of practice days. I think they're going to, restart it also. I think they'll get it going now. And although Jacksonville has really been playing some good ball, I think Notre Dame at home might overwhelm them, and I'm going Notre Dame.
I didn't say that Notre Dame wouldn't win. I'm just saying not by 5.5 points.
No, I understand. I know.
I believe Notre Dame will nip them. That's a lot. That means you got to win by 6. Think about that.
The next one should be a little easier. The second game, because it's New York and we're not going to do any line and it's just going to be the winner or loser, it's the winner or loser of Princeton and Marist. Now, Marist had an unbelievable win beating Stony Brook. They won their conference. They beat Stony Brook. And I put up that save that they had out there from the goalie, Metzger, that Ferrone had said is a Franklin Square kid. He's a Cary kid, right?
He's a Cary boy, I think.
Did you see the save he made?
He made one good save, then he made a save from his butt, reaching up with the stick. Exactly. I saw he reached up and made a second save. That was great. I think he made number 4, ESPN top 10.
Yeah. I don't know that I have a feeling he's not going to be able to do that against Princeton. Or he's just going to see too much rubber that I don't think he could.
Steven, you're going in and out on my set.
Are you? I am? Well, if you hear this, I'm picking Princeton. That's my pick.
Set, you all.
How about you, Vin?
Couldn't hear you.
Okay.
What do you say?
I could hear you too. I'm with Princeton all the way.
How many goals is it?
0.
No goals, straight up.
I never heard of that before, but
because it's
when there's a New York team,
Marist is a New York team.
Princeton too, of course.
And now
the big Kahuna. The big Kahuna game for you, Smalley.
Exactly. I'm gonna let Smalley go first on this one and describe it. Describe the ins and outs of this game. Syracuse and Yale in the dome.
Is he clear to you, Vinny? I can't see him that good. He's kind of in and out to me.
I can hear
I
him.
hear you in and
Yes,
out.
I'm hearing him.
All right, so we'll go. So who do we?
Focus,
we got
focus.
Yale. Oh my God, this is some game. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is gonna be. We got Pisano, a good friend of ours on Long Island. Oh, the Italian Mafia, they're all out. You got Pisano against Mike Leo and Spallina. Oh God, the battle of the Italians. Who's gonna win? Oh, I think it's gonna be closer than people think. I think this will be another overtime game. I think these games are gonna be so tight. I'm gonna pick Cuse in overtime. Joey Spallina with the winner.
Wow, okay. That's a good one. We'll see him at Hofstra then. Smalley wants his teams in there.
I
say,
love
man?
Yale too. There's no
I like the way Yale's playing. I think they, the fact that in the semifinals they played Princeton so tough, who right after that mopped up Cornell, tells you that they're a legit team, Yale. You know, they're very tough. But I think they're a year away. I think, you know, I got a lot of young guys on the team. I think he's building something. Some people are calling Andy Shea to be the coach of the year. What he's put together, they had a little bit of a slow start, but then they got rocking and rolling. We got one of our Ali Pond boys there, Connor Gately, playing great. Quarterback in, they share the ball really well, but I just think they're, you know, I think they're a year away. I mean, Syracuse, this is really do or die. They're a senior-heavy team. They got that, you know, the seniors that came in with a lot of fanfare, not only Joey Spallina, but also Mikey Leo and Dwan and, you know, whoever. They got other guys. You know, they know this is it for them. And I think they're going to really, in the dome, I mean, I think that's really tough for anybody to beat Yale in the dome. I mean, Syracuse in the dome. And that's a really tall order for Yale.
One game in 2 years
What's that?
at the Dome. They only lost one game in 2 years at the Dome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that.
You know,
yeah.
So
I got to go Cuse in that game.
Are we live somewhere because they're trying to get in on us?
I got fans are getting in.
What?
They're on. They're in there. I can see them in there.
Michael Leo's listening. Said I am in. How the hell did I get in?
We can do anything, Smalls. We can make it happen. So I'm gonna pick. You know, Yale we've got to watch Yale playing Hofstra. You know, I thought they were very good. I thought the goalie was very good. I thought they had a couple of offensive players, Mitty, that was very, very good. And their face-off kid was good. I just think Syracuse outmans them in every position. You know, they got and they have just too many weapons. They're just, you know, with Mikey Leo and Spallina and Thompson and Roa, it's like they just keep coming at you. So I think that they might be able to hang a little bit Yale, but it would be very hard pressed to believe that they're going to beat them in the dome. So I'm picking Cuse also. So you got me right. So
then another very tough game.
Yeah, the next game. This is another interesting one. The hot Virginia team playing Georgetown. Vin, what do you think of this one?
What's the spread on that?
So the one on this one is
Hey, Steven, you're breaking up. I'm sorry, guys. Stop for a second.
2.5. 2.5 for Virginia.
Steven, hold up. You got to hold up the show for a second. You're breaking up a lot, and I'm getting messages from, like, people, Penn State, Mike. Steven is breaking up. I can't see you that good either.
Okay, it's recording. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. You hear me.
Okay, the people listen. That's all I'm reporting.
Okay.
That's it.
Got it.
Yeah. They'll have to live with it. So what'd you say, Stephen? Virginia, Georgetown?
2.5. Virginia.
What's the line on the game?
2.5. 2.5.
Yeah, I think Georgetown's hot. They've run a bunch in a row. I think the last time they lost was to Syracuse in the Dome. I think they might have won every game since then. a little bit of lesser competition. I think that Virginia found their stride. I think they're going to be tough to stop. They're going to carry the momentum after playing the way they did in the ACC tournament. I'm going to go Virginia in that one. I think Virginia's going to get to the next round, and we're going to have our dream slate of teams at Hofstra for the quarterfinals.
Well, Virginia's not playing there at Hofstra, but they're in
Yeah,
Delaware.
no, I'm saying, yeah, no, I'm talking, right, that's true. They're in Delaware.
The whole cadoodle. Hey, listen, I gotta wrap up you guys. I did Kevin's team. They got these Connor brothers, and I mean, they're amazing. They're so right there. If anybody could do it, those guys light it up. They're right there. But I gotta go with the hottest team in America. I gotta go with how do you pronounce his last name? Laws. He was counted for dead. I mean, everybody I talked to, the experts, he was dead in the water. And a lot of people thought his job might have been on the line. Everybody counted on. And I don't want to pick on you guys. I think you guys did it too. But I don't remember what you guys said, but I'll let you call that out. But I got to go with the hottest team in America right now. Virginia wins by 4.
Smalls, who was the guy? What's his name? What's the guy who rose from the dead? What's his name? In the Bible.
In the Bible. In the Bible.
The guy who rose from the dead in the Bible.
Nazareth, right?
What's his name?
We're talking about the Bible, Nazareth?
Nazareth, yeah.
You would have met Mr. Shamanad. Mr. Shamanad. The Catholics.
Mr. Shaw. Lazarus, it almost matches his name. Laws, Lazarus, it's the same thing. Laws and Lazarus. They both rose from the dead.
Listen to me. Everybody counted that guy out. There wasn't a person I know. Oh, he's on his way out. He's done. He's this. He's that. The Millons are no good. They're going to transfer. They're going to go over here. The whole place is exploded. And here Laws is. Right? Count himself. He wins 2 or 3 games. He's a hero. I might carry Law. I might carry him off the field. I will carry Laws off the field if he wins it all. I promise you on that. I'll carry Laws.
Steven,
we did it.
The best part of everything he's saying, of all the things, he might get fired and they're dead and these guys aren't as good as they said. He was the one saying them. No,
exactly.
He shifted it quickly to people that we don't even know. This is what he does. He's an expert. This guy is an expert.
You never give me anything my whole life. My whole life, that's why I don't have failure. I succeed at everything I do because everybody never wanted to see me make it. But
how could you ever fail at anything? You pick every team. So far, we started this big, but you had Syracuse marching on like it was not. Then you had them dead. Then you went with Notre Dame. Then you had them dead. Then Maryland, what you did to Tillman. You drove over the bus with him and backed it up and over him again and over again. Poor Tillman, what you did to him, your best friend.
And I sent them cookies, and I also sent them those sticks.
The snacks, yeah. But I mean, you picked every team, so you got to be a winner.
No, come on, guys, let's move on. You know I'm a champion. Come on, the guy was counted for dead. I mean, that guy, it really is. I mean,
so you always have.
So that's it. That's the rundown of the games.
Wait, I didn't pick. I got to pick.
You didn't pick?
I didn't pick. And there's always some twists and turns in this thing. Always is. Now, I don't know if they can win, but I do know that they have a team. And I know that Georgetown will show up to play. And those Connor brothers are tough. And Carello is tough. And Warren is tough. So I expect them to put up a fight in that game, and I'm going to take the 2.5 points, and I'm taking Georgetown. That's my pick. Now,
wow, he took the underdog.
You got a lot of ground to gain. You know, got to at least catch up 5 games on the fans. So you're behind.
Fans are always beating us, especially me.
Well, the fans won the college season last year. They won last year. You know,
Right.
these are going to be some tremendous games. So what other news you got, Smalls?
Yeah. No, the other news has been Chaminad's playing a championship game next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, championship game. Chaminade is playing at Hofstra at 5 o'clock, I believe the 5 o'clock time, against St. Anthony's. Chaminade has not beat St. Anthony's in 7 years. And every year I hear my dear friend who I love dearly for being friends with me, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Sombrado picks Chaminade every year, and he's 0-7. He is the most consistent man in the world. You know what I'm saying? He really is. Vinny,
Consistently good and consistently bad.
If my Chaminade team going to win this year, let's get Vinny on the record. I mean, come on. Here he's thinking. That's it. Don't burn a fuse, Vinny. Don't.
You know, they played a very difficult schedule. They played a very difficult schedule, as did St. Anthony. Both teams are pretty dinged up. They got injuries to key guys. Some of their best players are not 100%. I think they will play 100 to 110% no matter what. They're all going to give it their all because it's such a rivalry game. I thought last year, I think Chaminade was up at half. St. Anthony's came back to beat them. We saw the first time they played this year, Chaminade was up at half, if you remember again. And St. Anthony scored, I think, the first 3 goals of the second half and then took a lead, but they never relinquished. It ended up a 2-goal game. I think the final was 11-9. So I think it should be, you know, it's a high-level, high-pressure game. I think, you know, when these two teams get together, anybody could win. But you're right. St. Anthony's has had their number for the last however many years.
7 years.
They beat them a few times, a couple times, maybe only a couple times during the season. I know the year. I remember when Brendan O'Neill was a senior, you know, Chaminade beat them in the regular season, but then lost to them in the championship. So, I mean, they lost the first one, Chaminade. They want this one. They can put a cherry on their top of their season with a win over St. Anthony's. You know, they've lost some games down in Jersey, but I think that Chaminade, is going to pull this one out this time. I think they're going to pull it out.
What do you got for the score, Vincenzo?
Close game, though. I'll say a 1-goal game.
Give me the score, though. We can be precise.
I'd say I'll go Chaminade.
What do you got, Steven?
I say Chaminade pulls the upset. Thomas O'Connell they put in a special defense, and they're going to win 12-8 going away.
Wow, so you're picking 12-8 Chaminade?
Yep.
Wow. Wow, I think going into the last game, here's what I think. Definitely close to the first. Everything's going to be close, very close, all the way to the end. I'm almost going to pick overtime, too. I think the winner's going to have to get 13. I think the winner's going to have to get 13, so I'm going to pick 13-12. Overtime. Chaminade wins. Chaminade wins. You know who that was, right? That was our old friend that passed away.
That was good.
Yeah, there you go. That's a nice tribute, Smalls. I like that tribute, Smalls. That was good. That was
New York
good.
Yankee guy that passed away. What was his name? Rafferty?
Sterling, John Sterling.
John Sterling, yeah. The Yankees win. Yankees win. John Sterling. There you go. Tribute to John.
So,
Yeah.
Vin, the other breaking news. I don't know if you heard this story, but my alma mater, which changed its name to LIU, they got hit with a 3-year probation because of some infractions with athletes within the athletic department and eligibility and forms. And, you know, the one thing in the report, it did not single out men's or women's lacrosse in the sports that were involved. It talked about football, talked about basketball, talked about some track, you know, but it did not say lacrosse. So I don't know if it affects lacrosse. But I thought it was interesting because one of the reports said they did self-report this problem to the NCAA. The problem was
Right.
that at Post, they
Right.
had only one person doing the thing. And back in the day, when I was at the school, who do you think was in charge of that job?
Are you going to mention names? I don't know.
Oh boy,
Tommy
Posty.
Postel. That was his job. He was in charge of the eligibility. It was hysterical. It was great. I can tell
See
you
that? He did a good job. Never
He
any
did a good job.
problems when Tommy did it.
Never a problem. Never a problem. I used
You know,
to
that's
come in
because,
because
Stephen, Stephen, that came from his army training in Vietnam when he used to have to keep the records in Vietnam.
believe that. And what was funny was the athletic department, they used to get these special cards, reports from all the classes. I would just go to his office just when he was getting those cards because I loved to see him reading through those cards. And he'd be going through them and he'd go, Bagnoli, he hasn't been to this class in a month. He'd be going crazy about these guys and getting all over them.
Listen,
Boy.
this has been going on for a few years. I read the article a little bit. I saw what he saw and what he was seeing. Listen, it's got to be true. It's all over the place on all the teams. They're not pinning anybody down. I don't want to pick on the school, but it's been a mess. The school's a mess. The administration, I've dealt with them. I mean, I don't want to pick on them, but I gotta say, they're all over the map with that crap. It's unbelievable what they're doing. I mean, get it right.
I don't know
Get the
anything
best
about
kid.
them. I'm not going to knock them. They might have just they were sloppy with some paperwork. They'll give them they're paying a price for it. They'll do their 3 years and they'll clean it up. But I'm not looking to hang them over it.
like
It's
anything else,
paperwork.
though.
It's
Ineligible. There's so many kids who are ineligible. They don't go to class. It's sports and class. You can really make a case for every school in the country. What do you think? Every school is dead right? There's no way.
well, I
Get these kids going.
I don't know that it singularly had to. I don't. You're zeroing in on going to class. I don't know if it was singularly had to do with going to class or the passing grades or whatever the story is.
I have it.
I don't know, but I'm not looking to convict them and hang them over it. It's they're gonna pay a price for it. They already said 3 years. Yes, they're getting their 3 years and let it be. That's it. We don't got to beat them up. That's it. Let it go.
So, Smalls,
You got to believe in
the last thing I'll
redemption,
leave you
Smalls.
with,
You got to believe in redemption.
I just want to, I want to give a shout out to Max Seabold.
Don't shout out yet, Stephen. I got one more thing to talk about.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
Well, today I was getting hit with a lot of texts today because USA Lacrosse came out with their All-Americans, whoever picks them for USA Lacrosse, and I'll preface the remarks that we always go by, and most people go by the USILA, but because there's interest, different people make their picks and all, and today the USA Lacrosse All-Americans came out. They picked the first team, second team, third team, and honorable mentions. And there's a lot of names on this list because I'm looking at it. And I know there were some people that were a little surprised by who was on and where they were and who was off and where they were. So I just wanted to, what do you guys think about? Have you had a chance to see that list? Did anything pop out to you that, any omissions or any people you would switch in and out?
What popped out to me is there's a lot of great players, and why not wait till the season ends to determine that? There's a whole, there's the season, there's the beginning of the season, there's the conferences playing, and there's the conference seasons, and now you're into the postseason. I think it's like picking the things with 2/3 of the season gone. This last third of the season is what matters a lot, and I don't think it's right, picking those kinds of things. Maybe it's them just trying to jump the gun on the, on the real one, the USILA or whatever it is. But I think it's hard to determine it if these playoff games and guys do great. You got You got guys on teams that are in the honorable mention section that if they go to the championship game, you're going to tell me they're not going to be on your first and second team? You know, I think it's a little premature. But I think the list is, when you look at it, there's a tremendous amount of strong players playing today. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. You can be subject. There could be guys from other regions saying you didn't pick us. It's very hard. It really is, in all due respect. 1, 2, or 3, whatever. I mean, you know, what is it based on? Is it based on scoring? Because if that's the case, I'll take it right out of scoring. Why didn't the kid from Georgetown? He should be first team All-American. If Georgetown wins Virginia and they get to the Final Four, the Carter brothers should be first team All-American.
You would imagine something they would definitely be higher than honorable mention.
And he played 2 less games. And he's honorable mention. So where do you draw that line? It's subject to be picked on. I don't think anything.
Well, the question is, the question is when they release something early like this, right? And they've put it out before, you know, I mean, maybe they put it out today, so you had 2 playoff games played, right? We got a long way to go. All the real tough games coming. Does it influence the voters with the USILA? Do you think they look at this list and use it in any, you know, determining how some of them may vote? Because I think the USILA is coaches, from what I understand. You know, this USA Lacrosse.
I think it could influence it.
Yeah,
it does influence,
I think it does. You know,
coaches kind of got them. Like if one guy scores so many goals and comes out of the woods now, yeah, like that. I agree.
Well, what about this, Smalls? What about if you're the kid? What if you're the guy who's an honorable mention who feels he's a first team or a second team guy? Maybe that motivates you and says, you know what, I'm going to kick ass in the playoffs.
It's like, what criteria you pick it from? If you go down the scoring, and you go down the assist, and you go down the RPI that you pick, then a lot of these guys are not first, second, third team. I can make a case. Where's the guy from Cornell? He's got more points than any of them. I mean,
well, they got William Firth as a first team All-American. They got one Cornell attackman as first team All-American. They do.
Okay, they do have him. Now.
You know, they do. But you know, look, I think they're a little light on the Penn State team from what I looked at. I think Penn State, there has been different guys that, and what's to say if a team's a winning team and their scoring is balanced, that's a negative towards a really good player because they got balanced scoring on his team. You know, I mean, that's why, I mean, look, they're not just looking at statistics. I hope they look at the impact each of these players has on the team. And maybe that's why the people you're seeing here, these particular people who are voting and put them in place right now, this is who, and by the way, they might be regional type guys and they didn't really see some guys from the north, like some of the northern guys might not have seen guys from the south. There might be Ivy League guys that follow the Ivies all year, the ACC guys. But, you know, it's always difficult, and it's no different than the Oscars. You know, who's voting for the Oscars? Who gets the best picture? Who gets the best actor, best actress? You know, it's very subjective, and the person, they have their particular biases towards who's what. But, you know, I just thought... Vinny. Say again?
The whole world favors the ACC. You have a point.
Well, there's something to be said. You know, there's, for this year in particular, the ACC and the Ivies, you know, the Big Ten, I think, dropped off a little bit. They were pretty strong there for a while, but I think they dropped off. I think if you looked at head-to-head, Ivy versus ACC, they might, I don't know what the records were exactly, but I remember the Ivies a bunch beating the ACC teams. And so I don't know which is the stronger conference. I mean, obviously they got 5 teams in the thing, the ACC. So just based on that, you'd have to say they're the strongest conference. And so they should merit a lot of people. But, you know, you look at snubs, I mean, you know, does Millen, with all the points he scored and the way he broke out and all, should he be up on first team? Is there somebody you could interchange with him? You know, they only got 3 up there.
I could pick a guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's down. Well, Leo's down in honorable mention territory. You know, it's hard to go, at least from these people. So like I said, I'm not saying the USILA guys are paying attention to this at all. But if you look down this list of honorable mentions, there's quite a few really good guys, and people might see it totally different. But that's the hard thing about awards, and that's what strikes debate. I mean, they're still talking about who's the greatest player in basketball. Was it Jordan? Is it Chamberlain? Different eras? No, this is not talking about different eras. This is talking about a particular season is all we're talking about. And who did what in this season. So whether somebody was an All-American last year, wherever they fit last year, maybe they didn't have as good a year. Maybe their team didn't have as good a year. Maybe you know, they missed some games. I don't know. But, you know, this is all up for debate. But at the end of the day, I know people get upset, and it's, you know, water cooler talk. But, you know, it's hard to say who's more deserving than another in this. It really is. But I think you're right.
He throws a monkey with, what is water talk? Water cooler talk. I never heard that word.
No, what that means is, you know, there's no real, what it means is there's no real answer to it. It's just opinions in most cases, you know. So I think Stephen makes a good point. You know, them saying that, you know, putting it out now, how it might influence things, I just think they should always wait, you know, wait till the, you know, there's enough influence involved in the thing because they already all came out with their all tournament teams and all league teams. You got the all ACC thing came out, the all Big Ten came out, the all Ivy came out. So that, I got to think the people who picked this, they look at that, you know, so they're using that as a guide, and they're saying, well, this guy was first team all Ivy, you know, I got to put him ahead of that guy if that guy was second team all Ivy. But at the end of the day, like I said, you know.
Well, you could equally say, Vinny, with the fact that they carved down the Tewaaraton down to 5 guys already, why did they carve it down now? Why don't they wait till like the Final Four to carve it down, like that weekend, and then announce, because it always gets announced after the season anyway. What happens if one of those guys, like a Millen, or the guy Palumbo, or some of those other guys, what if they go berserk in the playoffs and their teams go all the way and win the championship? Right. You know, they're not going to get the Tewaaraton.
No, I think they carved that. Like you said, when you're down to 5, if you're going to be looking at who, you know, first of all, I think just based on the 5, and one person, Joey Spallina, is a senior, the other 4 are juniors. In my opinion, you get a little edge being the senior. But past that, like you said, some of these teams are playing each other in the next round, and they're going to be bounced. So does the team that gets bounced, does that guy now, he falls off the thing because the other team won? We'll find. We'll see.
It's locked up. It's Joey Spallina all the way. You can tell the bells and whistles. Here we come. Here we come. It's him all the way. He can't lose it. I'd be shocked. It'd be like Babe Ruth losing the home run derby. It ain't happening.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Look, I think I've always said that's an award, you know, it always seems to go, you know, to the guys at least who get very far, at least to the Final Four. So
right,
maybe not always winning it.
What is it, for one game? I don't even know what it means. What does it mean?
Not for one game. Obviously, it's not for one game. They don't. It's not an MVP of a game. It's a season-long award.
So is it points, or is it every game? Is it?
Again, you said this about what we talked about before. You said this before. Points matter. I'm sure in some respect, a guy who puts up a lot of points, it matters. But I think for some voters, they don't put all stock in points. I think they look at other factors in the thing. And that's why they're down to these 5. Because they think these 5 separated themselves. If you're going to go, like Steven said, when they were picking the teams to make the playoffs, right? You said the last 6 years or something, they went straight RPI, right? So they didn't go straight points for this USA Lacrosse, because some of the guys who were down lower have more points than the guys who were first and second team. So they didn't go all on points.
I was looking at it.
You know,
I was looking at it like
there's
you
some
guys
other
were.
value that they're putting in it. You
I
know,
was looking at it
how do
like Vinny
you
said.
value a face-off guy? How do you value how about the fact? How do you value a defensive player? There's never been a defensive player got the award, right?
Then why don't we have other awards? We should have 4 awards.
Well, they do have awards. They do have other awards. There's awards. There's defenseman of the year. There's goalie of the year. There's midfielder of the year. There's attackman of the year, and they have names attached to them. The Markland Award. You know, the different awards. Schmeisser Cup. You know, Rayenna's Award. You know, they have awards. There's plenty of awards to go around. It's just we're just kicking it around. I'm not being negative to it because I know it's very difficult choices. I'm just saying there's very difficult choices. And I think for them to come out with this thing this early, it's, you know, I think it influences stuff. They should just wait.
I have something to add, Stephen, before some just came across here. So I want to, just one thing before we get to the end. I just want to add something, be very fair to the fans and the people and to your old Lamada. How do you say it? Lamada? I can't say Alamada. For LIU, right? That's how you say it now, which formerly was CW Post years ago. To be fair, what I said before, just very quickly, I'll read it. Okay. Long Island University's nickname might be the Sharks, but it was the NCAA that took a bite out of the school this week. Long Island University was placed on a 3-year probation by the NCAA following an investigation that they found the university's athletic program had allowed more than 1,000 students who were ineligible, did not complete the required NCAA paperwork, or were not properly certified to compete or practice. The infraction took place between the 2020, 2021, and 2023-2024 academic year as a result of LIU failing to monitor its eligibility certificate process. Excuse me. They did it again. I have a issue.
What was that word?
Hold on. Let me just get it. Hold on. Don't laugh. The monitor its eligibility certification process. How do you say it? Certification process. Certification process. Get a lot of calls on this. One last thing.
Yeah, that sounds just like paperwork.
Oh,
Yes.
Steven, come on. That's not paperwork.
Yes, you're coming out of COVID. You went back to like the COVID years almost. You're coming out of COVID. Maybe somebody didn't. Yeah, you don't have the person might have been sick. They're not there. They didn't hand it in. Listen. It's not like
you guys are attorneys and you processed what 1,000 kids did. I don't see that.
Postel did it.
Who said
Postel did it
1,000
with a cigarette in his mouth. He did it with a cigarette in his mouth and an OTB paper in the other hand, and he did it.
Now, guys, I know you're having fun with it, but just let me be clear with this. They allowed more than 1,000 student athletes who were ineligible. They knew they were ineligible.
Listen, they didn't know that you don't know that they know they were ineligible. It might be something as simple as there was a new form being used that they never used to certify them, and they didn't know, and now they said, well, we screwed up. We didn't report it that way. And you're calling them ineligible and everything else.
He wants to give them the death penalty.
No. But
I'm telling you, the guy is like,
he's rough.
You keep saying 1,000. I don't think it's 1,000 people. It's probably 1,000 events. Probably it counts one player for every practice and every game and everything he did. So that could count for 50 or 60, one person. And then multiply that by how many people playing.
I mean, if they're wrong, they're wrong. They pick on LIU, little school. There's probably 1,000 other schools doing it. And basketball.
It might be. And you know what?
Basketball school. They're paying all these kinds of
And
money.
all right, where you going? You want to be an investigator? Leave it alone. It'll be in the newspaper, and these athletic departments will see it, and they'll say to their compliance people, let's not let what happened at Post happen here. Make sure we're putting the right forms in. Make sure we're doing it correctly so we don't have this problem. You're making it into like a national thing.
It was a system. They kept doing it. They knew they were wrong. Kept doing it and doing it and doing it.
I think he thinks he's Judge Roy Bean. He's a hanging judge. He's ready to... People don't realize one thing about him. He don't even like sports. He hates sports.
You gotta listen. No, I like fairness. I like fairness. And do sports people get ahead in life because they play sports? Yes or no? He can't answer it. None of you can you.
I can answer it.
Let's move on.
You want me to answer it?
Move on. No.
I read you the study. I read you the study the other day that they said people who played sports, particularly in college, they're overachievers. Sports has added something that enables them to overachieve. That's not me saying it. It was a report that was written. Why don't you believe that report? You don't want to believe that report, but you want to believe thousands of athletes that weren't eligible and they were doing this at Post because what? They were winning. What were they doing? Winning national championships?
Steven, I'm having issues.
Oh my God.
All right, good show today,
Well, I got to go back to my shout out because I was mentioning, from CityLax, Max Seibold, he got a treat. He got a treat, man. He got a treat. He got the ride home with Smalley. I'm sure he was shaking his head on that one. I think we had a nice conversation in that ride out of the city back to Port. He lives, close by where we are, so we gave him a ride. And he had his eye on that gas meter, Smalley, the whole time.
He's on empty. We call him last minute Charlie. He goes the last minute, no gas in his car. He goes 30 miles. I got enough gas. Me worry. He's there. He's got 13 miles to go. It's going on, man. It's like 14 miles.
I live on the edge. What can I tell you? I like to live on the edge. What can I say?
Small. We got home here already. He had over 10 miles left. You should have been when we went out to the St. Anthony's game. We went out to the St. Anthony's game. We were only at exit 36, and we're going out to the St. Anthony's game. He had 2 miles left. I go, Vin, where are we going here? And oil light was going on. I go, what's going on here? We ain't making it.
Man, he's the best.
He's like Kramer in Seinfeld. Vinny's like Kramer.
He is the greatest.
Yeah. I need something to get my adrenaline going.
Yeah, so Max Seibold.
I need to get my adrenaline going. That's how I do it. I play dangerous. Who's your shout out, Smalls? Who's your shout out?
I mean, of course, my Justin Terry. I'll give him some props again. We saw him there with his boys. Great guy. Another guy I want to give out.
Justin Terry / Cursed.
Yeah, right. We got to match them up together. So I got to give credit and thank Dean Palin on the show because he was kind enough to invite me and you guys. We had a nice seat, and he invited 5 or 6 kids from Brown University.
Oh, they were great.
His son Ben was able to get to the university. He was a young man in high school, and Vinny helped Dean out. Vinny got another call. I think Vinny helped out a little bit. The kid was able to get on the lacrosse team. He made friends for a lifetime. I don't see Ben every year. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. But that's Dean's son, and he had 5 friends from Brown, and it was a ball. I had a field day with those Brown kids, man.
They were great.
To see where they're going and stuff, what a treat that was.
Smalls, you got to feel good in life when you see young men like that. You know the world is in a good place. They're fun. They're personable. They're having a good time. The world is good.
They're good kids. They're like 25.
Yeah, they were great.
I was busted on them like we were. What did we have at 25? Where were we? We were driving to the Hamptons, like with Vincenzo, with no gas in the car. You know what I'm saying? Vinny was working for the ice company. He worked for Paul Washington Ice Company.
Right. Nothing's changed for you, Smalley. You're still the same as you were when you were 25. You
So I
think
said to the
anything's
kids,
changed?
I said to the Brown kids, I got guys, I got a bust on you. I go, guys, are you still asking mommy and daddy for money? I wonder when kids get off their parents' payroll. You know what I'm saying? How old, you know? I mean, after all, they went to Brown and figured they're making money now. But that's it, Vinny. Who do you got, kid? You're the king, bro.
Oh, here's my big shout out. My big shout out this week goes to my niece, Marin Sombrado, whose lacrosse team won the other day, 10-8. She had a big victory on Sunday afternoon in front of the family. We had the family members there cheering, especially little Jeffy was there. My nephew Jeff's son, he was cheering for her. He's a little guy, he's just going to be 3 years old in July, I think. And we had a lot of fun at that game. She went from lacrosse to a few hours later to the football field, flag football. She scored a touchdown. She's looking like LaDainian Tomlinson out there. She runs that jet sweep. She turns that corner. It's over. If they miss that flag, she's gone. So Marin's...
And then Smalls, this is the other thing you have to do. This might be the most impressive thing. And mark it in your calendar right now. June 6th and 7th. Okay?
6 and 7.
Okay? Because the next thing she does 2 days a week, she's in the dance arts. So the dance arts recital is the 6th and 7th. And I'm telling you, if you bring Cheryl, you will have the time of your life. You won't believe how good this dance show is.
The one I went to last year?
Yes, he saw some of it.
Another year? Oh, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 70
Yeah.
next year. I can't take it.
So that's my niece. That's my niece Chelsea. Her school in Port Washington, the Dance Arts Center. She does an amazing job. They do a 2-day event at the Port Washington Schreiber High School. These kids, they work all year to do this event, and they work so hard at it, Chelsea and the people working with her. But it's so fun for the kids, the costumes, the whole bit. The parents bring flowers for them. It's a sellout every year. This year's theme is, I think, based around Studio 54. So we're definitely going to get a lot of disco music.
Man, that's going to be good.
And I think it's, it goes from little girls right up to seniors in high school. And Chelsea's just done a fantastic job with that school. And, it's just like those kids, it's part of their lives now. They love coming back, even when they leave from college. And when they come home, they come visit her. And they watch the little ones, and they even help out a little bit. So that's coming up the beginning of June.
When you see the evolution of when they're young, all the way up to the girls that are, almost going to be heading to college, and the skill of the dance, it is a great show. It is a great show. It's really enjoyable.
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the brownies.
Yeah, you enjoyed it. You didn't know it was going to be that good when you came that day. You got into it.
I like the food, the brownies, and all the desserts, the homemade cookies, chocolate chip. Yeah. I grew up on that much,
We'll be back next week to wrap up after the first rounds. So for the fans out there, make sure you get your picks in. We're going to put them up on the Instagram stories on tomorrow and Saturday. Oh, and one other thing before we go, last but not least, I want you to pick 4 more games, because besides college, guess what's starting this weekend?
PLL.
Yes. So
They play.
Oh, boy. Let us get a week under our belt first. We don't even know who's on the teams.
We gotta get it. We gotta get them in. These are fast picks. These are easy ones.
All right, go ahead.
We're gonna do the Redwoods are -1.5. All these games are 1.5. So the Redwoods are -1.5 against the Archers. I'm gonna pick the Archers.
Oh, I'll take the Redwoods. They're on fire. They got a whole new fresh blood. Redwoods, I go with.
Then
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Redwoods too.
okay, Atlas -1.5 against Chaos. I'm going Atlas.
I'll go Atlas also. They're going to cream them.
Atlas. We got a consensus on with Atlas defending champs.
All right. Water Dogs -1.5 against the Whip Snakes. I think CJ Curse is too much. And Water Dog got some power. I'm going Water Dog.
I'm going with Rob Pennell and the Whip Snakes.
Nice.
They won't have Joey Spallina in the lineup. You don't have these college guys yet, but I
Right.
think the Whip Snakes, I saw Rob working out. He's in unbelievable shape. He's going to be playing like he's 22 again.
I saw him playing golf. He plays golf pretty good.
Yeah, he could be on tour.
He's a real deal golfer.
So the last game is Smalley's man Brendan O'Neill, -1.5 against the Archers. I'm going Outlaws.
Brendan O'Neill.
Denver Outlaws against who, Steven?
Archers.
Who's that game again? Archers, wow. Yeah, that's Archers 2 games in the weekend they got?
Yeah, because he's in Utah.
All right, I'll take the Outlaws then too, because I think it's tough playing 2 games.
I agree. All right, folks. All the games will be up there. Make your picks. Follow on Spotify, YouTube, whatever platform you choose to follow. Make sure you comment. Give us some ideas. Tell us who you want to talk to. We're going to get some guests as the season wraps up. We'll get some of these coaches after they've detoxed for the year. So we'll see you.
We'll make them give us an autopsy report.